Well, let's talk about emotional intelligence. This may be different than how you've been taught or been told or have learned. And I like that. So, my version is leading from the inside out. It's emotional intelligence from the inside out. So, hi, my name is Catherine Hood. If we haven't met, or if we have, beautiful. I am a self leadership and relationship mentor, educator, and coach. So I help people create a life they no longer need a vacation from, or they don't need to set an alarm for every morning. They just wake up excited, eager to live life fully. A big part of my work with clients is emotional intelligence. It really is. It's probably a big portion, actually, I know it is a big portion of the foundation. So, as a teacher, educator, a guide, I like to simplify everything. So, this version might be super simplified from what you know, or maybe it's just a little bit different, which again is something I love. I like to bring new concepts, new, fresh ways of thinking. All right, so this is going to be a real version, a human version, one that can be applied in your own life, and something that you can apply in the throes of life, right? When life is happening. Life is a contact sport. Do believe in that. No amount of personal development is going to prevent you from feeling feelings, whatever you want to label them. But what I do help you understand is where your feelings come from and help you really develop the skills and the intelligence, emotional intelligence, on how to understand where other people's feelings come from. So that way you can live life from a clarity. You can really hone in your skills, your values, your morals, your principles, your convictions, things that are important to you. I think that when we live in a world where we're on autopilot or reactive, we lose sight of what our values are, what our morals are, what our principles are, and convictions. I jokingly say I have different values and morals when I drive versus everyday life. Um, it's more of a joke. And if you're a client, if you don't, then, well, ask me. But most people think they feel other people, places, things, situations, and circumstances. They think they feel the world around them. And what I'm going to tell you is they don't. Nobody does. Nobody feels the people, places, things, situations, or circumstances. People feel what they are thinking and believing, period. So once you see that, not logically understand it or agree with me or intellectually agree, it's when you actually see it in real time, in real life, and have that epiphany or that aha moment or that spark or open up a new door, or whatever you want to call it. So anyways, hopefully technology working in my favor. There is a worksheet somewhere around this video, likely down below. Please grab your worksheet or a blank piece of paper. You might be able to follow along without the worksheet. It is free. You don't have to give me your email. It's available to you. So print it or have it up on another screen, have it nearby, and use it throughout this lesson. So where do emotions come from? That's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to start with the foundation is understanding. It's about understanding. I think that the world is filled with 8 billion people that have a misunderstanding. Of course, not all 8 billion, but we are taught, we are conditioned, we are programmed that our emotions are outside in, right? The people, places, things, situations, and circumstances make us feel a certain way. And as a result of that, more and more people are feeling helpless and hopeless and confused, wanting life to look and be a certain way, to be happy, to be at peace. Everything has to be a certain way. And that's in my mind, misery and a finish line that you'll be chasing your entire life and be confused at why you can't find peace, happiness, joy, whatever you want to label it. Your thoughts come to you in the moment. Okay, the thoughts that you believe are the ones that you feel. Most people latch on to the very first thought that they have and react to that first thought. That's normal. That's typical. That definitely used to be me. And I certainly fall into that on occasion now. And what I mean by occasion, it could be daily. We live in a world where it unravels what I point you to in this video. We live in a world that we flip on the TV or flip on a podcast, listen to anything, and the language will again point us to the outside world, creating the feelings that we feel inside. And that's not true. So it's really easy to slip up and misunderstand our daily life. So that first thought is usually shaped by past experiences. Okay, it makes sense. Our brain logs constantly around 40 bits of information. It saves it in filing cabinets, and it's really saving things that have some sort of sense of fear or safety being at risk as top of mind. So our mind is going to memorize and keep front of our mind or activate that first thought as anything from our past, long held beliefs or quotes or paradigms that you hold on to and grip with or repeat over and over again in your head or in the words that you say on a daily basis. Oftentimes that first thought is very destructive, very impulsive. Usually that first thought in nature is fear-based. So things that it might sound like is it's the people, it's the situation, it's my boss, it's my partner, it's my kids, it's my bills, it's the weather, it's traffic, it's the timing, I'm running out of time, it's the circumstance, if only I was making more money, if I got a pay raise, if only I was validated, if only I was respected. All of this is language, and that's just a drop in the bucket that points to your feelings being outside of you. Emotional intelligence teaches us something completely different. Okay, so emotional intelligence has two categories, two parts to it. This is what I teach. Okay, so again, I'm a teacher and also a coach. Emotional intelligence has two levels. One is self-awareness. Okay, my self-awareness. The second component is social awareness. So social awareness would be other people. Okay, self-awareness is what is inside of you. It's the ability, the skill, the talent, the strength to notice in the moment your state of mind before you do anything. Okay, so it's noticing your state of mind before you react, noticing your state of mind before you respond. It's noticing your state of mind before you say things, do things, whatever. Think, act, and believe. Okay, so it's knowing that your emotions come from your state of mind, or in other words, your thoughts in the moment. Okay, so your emotions, your feelings are not coming outside in, they're coming inside out. It's also recognizing the gap between something happening, an event outside of you, and noticing the gap in time and space where your mind adds flavor to it, adds drama, fills in the gaps, has judgments, has expectations, has assumptions. So it's noticing that gap and noticing in that gap that you can choose how you want to feel. Not allowing the impulsive thought that comes from our prehistoric brain to be in the driver's seat. Oftentimes your prehistoric brain is going to put forth the fearful thoughts that keep you small, that keep you in reactivity, that keep you in a negative feeling. So emotional intelligence, when it's self-awareness, it's a skill to self-regulate. It's understanding what your internal state is and choosing or shifting to respond from your values, your morals, your principles, from clarity, and responding from a way that you know that you'll be proud of afterwards, when you go to bed, the next day, at the end of your life. It's an operating system that allows you to have more choice in your life. So self-awareness is noticing your thinking, understanding how your thoughts create the feeling that you feel viscerally in your body, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's choosing the thoughts that support you and how you want to feel. Okay. So it's not the automatic impulsive thought or habit, it's the choice. Regulating your nervous system is recognizing when your nervous system is activated, dun, 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 and pausing and reassuring your brain and your nervous system that you are indeed safe. Thank you for working super hard for me. I am indeed in a safe space. Being grounded and being present is being able to regulate yourself, being able to activate one of your five senses: sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. It's activating one of those, settling your body. Sometimes breath is a good one. Activating your body in a safe manner, being able to have that skill, being able to use it in a time where things might be happening rather quickly, someone yelling at you or in traffic, maybe almost getting in an accident. Also, being able to take perspective on yourself, like almost, I call it an out-of-body experience. That's how it feels to me. And everybody has a different way of experiencing it. I've heard people call it, giving yourself a warm hug. But being able to be reflective and being able to see your perspective now and being able to go, you know what, today I'm going to choose to feel this way. I'm going to choose to respond this way. Where yesterday I might have chose something different, and that's okay. Making peace with the older version of yourself and wanting to grow, wanting to learn, wanting to inspire, wanting to be a self-leader in your life, inspiring others at their own agency, of course. So this is the inside out foundation on self-awareness. The second portion is social awareness. So again, that's other people. And so that's the same awareness that I just spoke of with self towards someone else. So it's outward. So this is only going to work when you have worked on yourself, when you have self-awareness, because when we have self-awareness, how we treat and act amongst ourselves and our own thoughts and our own life is what we project outwards. So truthfully, the only thing that really needs to occur is the self-awareness work. The social awareness work is simple because you already have the foundation. You've already practiced it. Okay, so it's really practicing self-awareness will develop your skills of social awareness rather easily. This again is not knowing or agreeing with me or going, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not pointing you to just an intellectual or a logical level. This is all experiential. Okay, you got to experience this in your own life. You can certainly agree with me. Love that. I also love it when people disagree with me. I love having a dialogue or conversation that's, seeking to understand someone else's perspective. Okay, so what is it that you know? What is it you believe? Please share that with me, and because I love to learn, I love to hear other versions, other perspectives, other views with an open heart. And when we have social awareness, it's really about what I just stated. I would pause my own perspectives, my own opinions, my own judgments, my own assumptions, my own accusations, and really pausing my internal commentary, right? Wanting to say something or say you're wrong or that's not correct. I pausing all of that. When I have an open heart and an open mind, I receive what's being said and allowing them to share their story fully. I think that's the beauty of social awareness is when we have self-awareness, we're no longer hung up on who's right or wrong. We are really in the space of wanting curiosity, right? Wanting to understand, seek to understand, share more, tell me more, what else? And because, right? Just the word because, just asking, stating that one word with kind of a question mark out there looming, it allows people to expand further. So what this understanding is being able to parse out the words versus the music. So this is another way of saying parsing out or separating what people say to me versus the music behind it. I think all of us have heard songs that we love the beat, maybe the chorus, but we really didn't know what the meaning of the song was. And maybe we're shocked when we find out from the artist or whomever wrote the music what the actual intention or meaning of the music is. So in other words, oftentimes in communication, it breaks down in communication when we hear someone's words and we assume or believe that we understand what they're saying by the words that they're saying based on our own interpretation. But when reality is the music is completely different. So their words might mean something different to them than it does you. So it's really being able to be so curious to say, this is what I'm hearing you say. Is this what you mean? Okay, so that's healthy communication. Asking things to be rephrased is another good way to gain more social awareness. Okay. By chance, could you ask that question in a different way? And also repairing when things get off the rails, being able to quickly notice when things are going off the rails and repairing, apologizing genuinely and with curiosity, or being able to say, you know what, somehow we got off track here. Can we restart? I want to apologize for my part in this, taking ownership and responsibility. It's great social awareness. It's a skill, it's a talent. You've got to be brave to be able to take ownership and responsibility for your part, because always in communication, you're playing a part. But leading with curiosity is huge in social awareness. Know that anything anybody tells you, there's always at least 2% truth to it. So always look for the 2% is another way I like to phrase it in coaching. Whenever someone says anything, it's like, wow, what else does that mean? Or what could you share with me where you got that information? I find that fascinating. So stick with the childlike curiosity and look for the 2%. Social awareness is never about agreeing. Kind of touched on that just a moment ago. We're not looking to agree on said topic. Okay, it's looking for, what can I learn from this person? How can I learn something from them? Even if it's somebody, I know that there's situations that I've run into with clients where they talk to someone pretty frequently, and maybe this person tells the same story over and over again. Oftentimes there's a reason why they're telling the same story over and over again. They don't feel heard. Maybe there's a memory lapse, possibly. Sometimes that happens with older family members. But sometimes it's like, it's being able to bravely say, you know what, I remember hearing this story before. You've shared this once before. What else? I want to know more. Can you go deeper? Can you go broader? Could you say more about this story? Because I feel like there's something for me to learn or hear here. It really gets them, oftentimes I've experienced this live in the moment, where it gets them really excited. They really go deeper, and then it becomes more memorable. They'll oftentimes remember you. I remember telling that story to you. So think about understanding. People will speak about things passionately that you may not have a passion for, but really go into their shoes and experience their passion. What excites them? What are they triggered by? So it doesn't have to be something fun. It could be something that they're triggered by. Say more. I can really hear the pain in your voice. I can really hear the heaviness. What else? So this oftentimes will soften conflict when we seek to understand, ask more questions, ask more clarity, and of course, repair immediately if you can. This oftentimes will diminish or decrease defensiveness. Now, know that being defensive is the first act of war. Those of you that have gotten coaching from me know this. Anytime we are the first to be defensive, you're both in this tug of war. You're both in the boxing ring, and you're both wearing different colored shorts, and you're in battle now. And that's really typically it takes someone being brave and courageous and repairing right then and there to get everybody on the same team, or some sort of vulnerability to shift that. So think of the last time you misread someone's email or text, maybe their tone, their behavior. And just maybe it was yesterday, or maybe it was within the last week, something pretty fresh. So think of a time that you misread someone's tone, their words, their behavior, their body language. I think body language is a really good one this time of year. I'm recording this around the holidays, and I think a lot of people are tired, they're really burnt out, they had a long year, struggling with a lot of things. And so somebody's RBF might be taken the wrong way, or their silence might be taken personally. But notice how fast the mind works. Notice how active the mind can be filling the silence. Notice how active the mind can be when it's trying to make sense of things. So maybe as we move along through this worksheet, I'm going to use a scenario as an example to kind of help fill out the worksheet. And it's going to be on a mother-in-law. Sorry, mother-in-laws, no offense. I'm one of those too. Well, not by marriage, not as of yet, but very relatable. So, but this is where the social portion of intelligence begins, is, someone that might have well-meaning intentions and cares deeply, might have opinions about you and your partner or your loved one, and they might want to intervene and tell you how to live your life. So emotional intelligence starts right here. It's in the gap of what is happening and around you on the outside, and what your mind adds, the drama, the flavor, the feelings, the charge, the trigger, the any of those words, right? So it's all that drama that the mind adds. It adds meaning, it takes personalizations, a lot of me. Okay. Two people can live in the same event and have two completely different experiences. Why is this important to know? Is because it's proof that the environment is not injecting feelings into you. Okay, you've probably heard of this before. And I think a lot of people nod their head and logically agree and understand that on a very surface level. But you've got to really understand it truly, like in your own life, moving forward throughout the rest of your day, looking for times or chances where two people are in the same place, experiencing the same thing. It could be food, it could be the temperature in the room, it can be a TV show or a movie or a radio or news, or something that's being, news is a great one, or a social media post. Social media post is probably a really good one now that I think about it, and how there's so many different opinions. Okay, so what is an opinion, right? It's that gap between what happened. It's how people are perceiving the post or the picture in social media. So the event is not different between the two different people, or if it's social media, maybe it's 30 people who've posted on there. But there might be 30 different versions of how they experience that post or that picture. So what is different between all 30 people is their thinking. Okay, it's in that gap. It's the drama, it's the added feeling, the personalization, the me. Okay, emotional intelligence. Okay, circling back to what this whole video is about, is emotional intelligence is knowing and understanding your own state of mind and how that affects how you interpret your external world, an email, social media post, mother-in-law, something somebody said, traffic, news, whatever. Okay, it's realizing your state of mind is creating your reality. And then realizing the state of mind of another person if there's someone else involved, okay? How that other person or those other 30 people in that social media thread are interpreting the same moment. Again, no right or wrong, good or bad, better or worse, or above or below. None of that. Remove all of that. Now, I get that our minds are quick, are fast, okay? So are some people's tongues. They're very, very sharp. They come back with these witty responses and they feel a boost of adrenaline, a boost of oxytocin, whatever it is, because they feel as though they've responded quickly and they have quick wit and all this, that, and the other. A lot of times creating destruction along the way. It's quite easy for the mind to take things personally. It's very easy for the mind to assume someone else's intention. How do you assume someone else's intentions? Usually it's from your own self-awareness, right? We project onto other people our own judgments, our own harshness, our own urgency, our own rules, our own expectations, all the things, right? That's what we project on other people. I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it this way. This is the right way. Our mind also can quickly lose perspective. Our mind loves to make sense of this world. It loves to keep us safe at a cost, oftentimes. When we slow down, when we have choice in our state of mind, when we make choice, when we shift our state of mind, when we choose to have a quiet state of mind, the same things feel easier, more doable, more solution focused, more optimistic. Clear thinking, better decisions become easier to come up with, more creativity, more innovations, options and opportunities, and connection becomes available. When we have learned to navigate our life from a more steady state of mind, we can respond to life from clarity, from a almost like a sturdiness, from strength, from I'm thinking like of a strong stance. like a, what do they call that? A pose, a power pose, right? When we know what our state of mind is and we know that we have agency in our state of mind and our feelings, then we really can approach life from stability, from strength, from courage, bravery. All right, so let's go to the worksheet. So section 1 is about, or it starts off with the event. So back to thinking about a moment where emotions have spiked recently. Okay, maybe today, maybe in the last week. Think of a time or an event that's not really big, something maybe medium to small, where you were triggered, where you were upset, where you were charged, maybe dismissed, where you didn't feel validated, where you felt unheard. And what I want you to do is in the event section on the worksheet, write only the facts. Okay, simply the facts, just simple words to describe the event in the most simplest terms. So no feeling words, no blame, no commentary, no drama, just the plain bare bones facts, the facts and the data that a jury of 12 people would agree that occurred. Okay. So with the mother-in-law, it might be at a holiday gathering. Let's just assume, because again, I'm recording this around the holidays. So let's assume that my mother-in-law walks into the kitchen and looks at the turkey that I'm making and says, "Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it. Do you think that it'll turn out dry?" So what would be the event? Okay, so the event is just strictly the simplest details. Mother-in-law walked into the kitchen, saw the turkey, and stated something on her mind. That would be the simplest way to describe that event. Okay, so if you need to pause this to fill in that section, please do. The next section would be the story that our mind adds to the event. Now, this is where we're going to write the story that your mind added. This is where the drama is. This is what you would be typing out on the internet. This is what you are going to say when you're having coffee with your girlfriends. This is the drama. This is the added flavor and color to the event. So an example on the mother-in-law situation could be, she was judging me. She thinks I don't know how to cook. She thinks I'm doing it wrong. She always criticizes me. She doesn't like me. I can never do anything right. I don't think that she wants to be at my house. She's always looking for things to pick apart. Blah, 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 right? So notice how dramatic that gets, right? It creates a lot of story, a lot of me, her, feeling words, okay? All right, pause this if you need a little more time. The next section is the feelings, which you could probably pick a couple up from the last section, and that's fine. But I want you to stretch yourself. I want you to look deeper. What are the 5 or more singular words that you were experiencing in that moment? So really take your imagination, use your imagination, and teleport yourself back to that moment and think of 5 or more feeling words. Again, they're probably, negative, and fill that in. So with some examples for my situation, is annoyed, defensive, angry, irritated, tense, frustrated, irritated, less than. Feel free to pause this if you need more time. All right, the next section, what else could be true? So this is not being nice. This is not about being nice. It's about creating more space. This is about reflection. This is about doing the work. It's about being open, being curious, being innovative, being expansive. Okay, so what else could be true? Well, what else could be true for my situation? And again, fill it in for your situation. Maybe this is how she communicates. This is her social awareness. This is her communication style, right? Pointing out what could go wrong, right? A lot of clients, when I first start working with them, that's all they talk about is all the wrong and what they don't want, right? And oftentimes I usually see this with a lot of clients that have years and years and years of therapy. They bring to me all the things that they don't want in their life. Like, well, what do you want? They don't know how to articulate that. So we work on that. But so for this section, maybe she just wants to communicate. Maybe this is her way of sparking conversation from criticism, right? Don't make it wrong or right. It's just wildly interesting and different. Maybe she doesn't think before she speaks, right? She's impulsive. She thinks an impulsive thought and barfs it out. Low social awareness. Not that that's bad. Okay, most people are walking through this life on autopilot because they don't know. It's a misunderstanding. Most people are not aware. I know I operated from that for the majority of my life. That's why I do this work. I love my own personal growth, and I love sharing the value that I have learned through my journey and then the support of others. Maybe this is how she's curious, right? This is her way of being curious. And maybe she has no idea how someone else would perceive this statement. Maybe she's unaware, right? I know of people that are that way. They have good intentions and they say what comes to their mind without much thought, without much pause, without much awareness. Maybe she has strong opinions about how to cook a turkey. Maybe she was a chef in a former life, or maybe she was a chef, or maybe she's made turkey so many times that she has a trick up her sleeve that she'd be willing to share with me. Maybe from years and years of experience and many turkeys ruined, she has something to share. So maybe it has nothing to do with my worth. So it's not an attack on my worth. It might be her wanting me to ask her how she would do it with an open mind. Not to say that I'd do it that way, but with an open mind. Oh, share with me what your tricks and tips are. Okay. Most of our pain, most of our mental and emotional misery and pain is in between our ears. It's the story that we add. It's the added drama. It's the layers and layers of thought that we add to something that happens outside of us. Okay. If you need time to fill out what else could be true, please pause this video and fill out that section. All right. Emotional hijacking. When the mind speeds up. Well, when the mind speeds up, the nervous system naturally will follow, right? It's that dun, dun, dun feeling in your body. That's what it feels like to me whenever I'm really hijacked or triggered or taken off the tracks, or the rug slipped out from beneath me. It feels like this dun, dun, dun charge in my body, usually my stomach, and it'll travel up through my chest, my neck, my shoulders, then my face, probably last. The body always prepares for the threat, right? Whenever we're in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, any of those, and I know there's a couple more now, our body prepares for danger. Okay, so the blood goes to the extremities. Notice how I can feel it mostly in the core of my body and then traveling upwards. It's likely traveling to my legs and my arms, and I'm just not aware of that. But when this happens, when we are in a state of mind where we're sped up, our mind is really busy, our thinking narrows, right? We have less opportunities. We see less possibility. We're less creative. Reactions get really fast, really sharp. They're just like, and that's the dun, dun, dun feeling in your body. That is a great description of emotional hijacking or trigger. This is why, like, even the smallest things can feel really big, right? Zap your energy for the rest of the day. Now, every feeling is valid. Why do I say that? It's because our feelings follow thought. Every thought, every feeling is valid. I know there's people out there that, oh, I want people to validate me. Well, every single thought and feeling you have is valid. It's yours. Take ownership of that. So that means, this is what I point to, is just because someone doesn't text you back or respond to you or like your turkey doesn't mean that they're not validating you. It's just coming from their own emotional experience. Okay, it's from them. So when somebody doesn't text you back, that doesn't mean that they're rejecting you. That doesn't mean that they hate you. That doesn't mean that you're a jerk or you said something bad. Who knows what's going on the other side of that phone, right? Their phone or their reality in their world. We don't know. Now, our mind likes to make meaning out of that and personalize that and judge it. But does that serve you in that relationship? Oftentimes it doesn't. You're drinking the poison and really ruining your own day. Okay. So, and then also people will come to me and, like, get offended or heartbroken or disappointed because of a comment that someone made, just like about the turkey, right? We can, I mean, if I'm just now cooking the turkey and I don't know if the turkey's going to be dry. Is it a possibility? Yes. If I ever cooked a dry turkey in my lifetime, yes. More gravy, please. But emotional intelligence isn't stopping people from shaming you. Emotional intelligence isn't teaching other people how to communicate to you. You have no control over that. Work on yourself. Emotional intelligence is, again, about self-awareness, right? When we really lock that down and we're really self-aware and self-confident and self-reliant and self-regulating. Well, it takes care of everything, right? When we're bulletproof and we're confident, someone can say, Catherine, I hate your hair. I don't like the way you do your hair. And I could say, wow, thank you for that. How do you see me styling my hair, doing my hair? What would you prefer? And I'd be curious. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my hair, but it gives me an open window to see the 2% truth. What's there that I'm missing, right? Maybe my style is outdated, or maybe long hair is no longer a thing. I don't know, but I'd be curious. It doesn't mean I'm going to change it. I just would want to hear them out completely. So emotional intelligence, again, is not stopping the world and having everybody follow your rules, because guess what? That's a dictator and that's a controller. And that really is tough to maintain healthy relationships on both sides when there's someone in the relationship wanting to dictate and wanting to control. So your inner signal is simple, right? Figuring out what state of mind you're in. When your mind speeds up, it's knowing that your thinking and what you see becomes tunnel vision. Everything becomes really simplified and usually me. This is about me. And what I know is true is we can never make major decisions when we're in a low state of mind or when we're in deep tunnel vision. We can't see things clearly when we're in tunnel vision. We can't be collaborative when we're in tunnel vision. We can't be fun and creative and flexible and agile and why have wild curiosity when we're in a sped up, busy mind. So it's a big part of emotional intelligence to be more present, be more in the moment, slowing down. Clarity, insight, wisdom, hope, possibility is always going to rise when we slow down and we listen to our heart and our gut, not our head. Okay. Our head is what's protecting us, shrinking us, wrapping us in bubble wrap, preventing us from danger, which oftentimes is another way of saying self-sabotage. All right. And section 2 of the worksheet, I want you to pick the pattern, the state of mind check. Okay. All this is to bring more self-awareness. Okay, we want to know, what is our flavor? What is our pattern? What is our habit of thought? So back to, the situation that you chose, hopefully recently, that got you triggered, got you flustered, ruffled your feathers. Choose which state of mind matches. And if there's not one on there that matches, then write in or write to the side something else. Okay. So the options from my best recollection on my notes is assume the worst, taking things personally, making meaning, rushing to decisions, impulsive, overthinking, overanalyzing, replaying the conversation over and over and over again, feeling urgent, feeling reactive, all great options. And again, you can write on the right or write somewhere in the blank something else. Then answer the question following that. So what tipped you off that your mind, as your mind was speeding up? So what tipped you off? Or in other words, what did you notice in your body? How did you know in your body that you were triggered or upset or flustered? Okay. So what did you feel in your body, or what triggered? What did you notice first? Like me, it's that dun 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 in the stomach. That's my first noticing with a lot of things. I mean, I would say definitely I feel it differently in my body for other things, smaller things. I can feel it on my thighs usually. But some people on their jaw, my shoulders too. I feel it in my shoulders too. But just be curious at what tips you off. Then the next one is, what would my calmer self do? Okay. So what would your calmer self do instead? So this doesn't need to be perfect, because no human being is perfect. It's just choosing something steadier. What would be something steadier? What would be more calm, more present, more aware, more neutral, maybe? So for example, when my mind speeds up, I don't see clearly. Nope. So that's for sure. I don't see clearly. I see black, I see red, I see tunnel vision, I see maybe black and white. When my mind speeds up, I don't see things clearly. When I'm calmer, everything feels more alive. I feel more in the moment. It feels cleaner. It feels safer. It feels wildly curious. It feels in flow. Okay, just some ideas. Next one is, if I let my mind settle, my calmer self would likely what? My calmer self would likely, like the mother-in-law situation, is say, oh, what would you do different? I would open up the conversation. What would you do different? What are your tips? What are your tricks? Would you like to help me? I would love for your help. And yeah, just let it be. Allow, for that situation, allow her experience, because likely in a mother-in-law situation, she might have at least 10, 20 years more experience in the kitchen, 10, 20 more times cooking turkey. So share with me your tips and tricks. I love for that. And what could happen as a result of a mind being more steady and more calm is you could learn something very valuable that you could pass on to the next generation, right? Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? I know that I have like probably a handful of recipes that I do a couple times a year that are recipes that I've passed on from other generations, before me. And there's certain foods that are nostalgic for that reason, is because I have really fond memories with people that I love and care about that are no longer here. And as a celebration of them, I make those things once in a while. So perhaps this is an opportunity to connect with her, right? Again, not saying what she's doing right or wrong or good or bad, and not to say that I have to follow her instructions. I could say, that's great. Next time I'm going to try that. I don't know. In the moment, it's got to be your own words. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be authentic. All right, section 3, somatic regulation. Now it's bringing the body into this. Kind of touched on this a little bit, and in my work with clients, mainly in the book that I mail my clients. So every client that signs up with me, let's say they get 5 or 10 sessions, they get the same number of chapters in my 52 chapter self-led life book. Okay. So there's somatic regulation exercises in every chapter, several of them. But it really is about connecting yourself to your body. Your body signals what's going on in your mind before you really think about it. Well, you're thinking about it, but before you actually hear it, usually. Especially anybody that's operated on autopilot for a number of years or decades. Oftentimes we don't hear our thinking, but we feel it in our body first. So we want to be connected to our body. When your body is tight, muscles are tense, posture is limited. It's your thinking that's tightened. Your thinking has created that body tension. Okay? That's your nervous system that's activated. But when your body softens, your mind softens. Why? Because your mind feels safe. You're no longer in danger. So this is why emotional intelligence is not just mental, it's also body-centric. So you cannot think your way into a calm mind. You can't think your way into being peaceful. You can't think your way into being clear, just like you can't think your way into falling asleep. It's the same thing. When we analyze, we ruminate, we worry, we create anxiety, we have anxious thoughts. When we think about the past, the future, the past, the future, the past, the future, we're thinking and we can't regulate. Okay, we're in our head. So we really want to get into our body and reconnect with our heart, our gut, our soul, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes some people or even say God or spirituality or whatever it is that allows them to regulate, whatever your language is. But when we do this, when we connect to our body, we can access that calmer state. We can access our inner wisdom, our inner knowing. We become more grounded, right? So move to section 3 of the worksheet. And in section 3 of the worksheet, the first line asks, where does stress show up in your body? Okay, so where does stress show up in your body? Kind of touched on this on the last question. I didn't realize this was going to be a little repetitive, but again, the more aware you are, the more consciously aware you are, the more choice you have in your life, but also the more consciously aware you are, the more things that you can see that you can level up in your life, in your world, in your thoughts, in your behaviors, in your choices. Okay, we cannot fix what we're not aware of. That's why it's nice to have someone like me to spot your blind spots. So in coaching, I have a lot of clients that for 15 minutes will just barf up all of what's going on in their life and their world since our last session, which is usually a week apart, right? Somewhere around a week, 5 to 7 days apart when I first start working with clients. So they usually spend about 15, 20 minutes just barfing up in a messy way what's going on in their life. And what I listen to is words. I listen to language. I listen to their perception, what their judgments are, what their conclusions, what they're jumping to conclusions on, what assumptions they're making or expectations. I listen for language. And I can also feel it in my body as I'm listening to them. I can feel the sense, the heaviness, the weight of what they say. But you're also, if you're turning up your awareness, so that's what my goal is working with clients, is helping them become more aware, body aware, emotionally aware, thought aware, belief aware. But it's really noticing whatever we're thinking, we're feeling it in our body. So maybe it's your jaw, maybe it's your shoulders, maybe it's in your chest, maybe it's your stomach, maybe it's your back or your thighs, maybe it's in your breath, right? A lot of people, when they're really stressed out, especially a lot of stress, they have really shallow breathing or posture, right? Maybe you're slouching. Now, there's no right or wrong answer. Just notice, become more aware. And every once in a while, I have people that just don't know the answer, and that's okay too. That's something to become more aware of moving forward. All right, so let's soften our bodies right here and right now. So no matter where you are, as long as you're not driving, allow your shoulders to drop, maybe even roll them, like roll your shoulders up and pull them back and down. That feels really good. Unclench your jaw. It's almost like yoga for the jaw, right? Hold to the left, to the right, jiggle your jaw around, maybe your neck. Notice when your mouth is closed, if your tongue is pushing up against the roof of your mouth. Taking a really long inhale. And at the top of the inhale, have like a small little tiny extra inhale so that way your lungs completely fill with air, and let the air out slower than what you brought it in. And if your feet are not both planted flat on the floor, go ahead and do that. Notice anywhere in your body there's tension and just give it a little nudge. We're not forcing here. We're not fixing. We're just becoming aware. So notice what changes in your thinking. Notice what happens when your body softens. Notice any resistance too. I know when I first started doing a lot of this work, when coaches or mentors or teachers would have us do these type of exercises, sometimes for an hour. To me, that's a long time. I really think that 3 to 5 seconds is all you need. But I would get that resistance, like, well, this is dumb. What is this going to do me? So notice the resistance, notice the thoughts that are having you do it versus not do it. And also notice where those same similar thoughts could be showing up in areas of your life of stopping you from having the life that you want, right? How we do one thing is how we do all things. So if you're resisting doing that small, tiny exercise, this is dumb, I don't want to do this. This is useless, blah, blah, blah. Likely it's showing up in other areas of your life. So that's, again, self-awareness. Where in your world are you resisting? Where in your world are you unwilling and unopen to trying new things? Okay. In order for us to grow and evolve and develop, it's being open and curious enough to do silly little exercises like that in a way with maybe if you don't do it because of the fear of embarrassment. Well, why would I do that? What if somebody's watching me? Well, look at you, worried about what other people think of you. That's not self-awareness. That's externalizing and outsourcing your feelings. So that is a lot of the work I do with my clients. Notice, for those of you that did find a little more relaxation, that maybe one of your senses feels more alive. Like me, I can hear something turn on in the mechanical room 2 rooms over. I heard something. It sounds like a fan. I noticed that the sun just all of a sudden peeked out of a cloud. I feel like life slowed down. My thoughts definitely slowed down. I feel like there's more possibility, more options. So just being here on Zoom and on camera feels more relaxing, more manageable, and I'm more at ease. So that shift did not require willpower or white knuckling or doing anything more. It was self-regulation. That is important for emotional intelligence. It's not solving a problem. It's not doing more. It's changing my state of mind. It's changing my present state. It's changing what I'm focused in on. I'm focused in on my body. I'm focused in on this experience. I'm focused in on this life. And that opens up the door to creativity, innovation, collaboration, communication. A lot of shuns. Okay, number 4, section number 4, social awareness perspective. So take the same situation that we keep looking at and look through the lens of social awareness. Social awareness, again, is not agreeing. Okay, it's not agreeing. Never said that. And also social awareness is not condoning people's behavior, but that's not in your lane. Let them think, believe, and act the way they want. Mother-in-laws included. Let them think, believe, do what they want, because they will. The more we get tangled up into, well, I won't be happy until they talk nice to me. I will not be happy until they validate me. I will not be happy until they apologize to me. I will not be happy until they respect me. Well, guess what? That's misery. That's drinking the poison. Social awareness is about seeking to understand without adding drama and me, all about me on top of it. So on section 4, the first line says, behavior observed. So fill this section out. And as I've kind of gone through with you on this worksheet, for my example, the mother-in-law could be the behavior that I observed as my mother-in-law looked at the turkey and said, Oh, that's an interesting way to do it. Do you think it will end up dry? And that's it. No tone added. Okay, I kind of did. But when you write it out, remove the tone. So no triple explanation points, no question marks. Well, maybe one is fine. Maybe one explanation point, but not a dozen. We aren't going to assume any intentions. We're just going to put what they said, what their behavior was, just real simple terms. The next line is going to be the meaning or the personalization that we added. Okay, this is where we suffer. We kind of did this in a roundabout way in the last section, but it's could, now that we're relaxed, maybe something else gets revealed. So on the next line, the meaning we add or the drama or the personalization, the me. And again, this is where suffering comes from. She's judging me. She doesn't like me. She thinks I do things wrong. I can't do anything right in her eyes. Her tone is condescending and rude. She wishes I was not her daughter-in-law. Notice how the mind fills in the blanks. Pause this if you need. So the more grounded interpretation, again, remember, we want to seek to understand. Social awareness is seeking to understand. Now, our mind is going to, doing this work, right? Self-development work doesn't mean the negative thoughts are going to go away. Like, I don't have the ability in my coaching to give you a lobotomy. Okay. Negative thoughts are never going to completely go away. Those thoughts are there to protect you, to guard you. They're there to serve you. Okay. So it's just about being able to hear those thoughts and think those thoughts, befriend those thoughts, and then choose a more grounded approach, right? From our values, our morals, our convictions, principles, morals. And this isn't about toxic positivity. It's not about spinning it to the positive. It's not pretending. It's not make believe. What we're wanting to do is to have a more grounded, steadier way of seeing things. It's shifting the lens in which you look through. Okay, another way to word it. So some examples for this section could be, I don't know what she actually means, so I'm going to ask. Another one could be, this is her way of sparking up a conversation. Another one could be, she probably is unaware or oblivious to how someone receives that statement. Another one could be, you know what, that might not have anything to do with me at all. Maybe on the drive over here, she had a fight with her husband. Maybe their pet passed away, or maybe her best friend passed away. Who knows what's behind that, what state of mind she's in, right? Maybe she has tightened shoulders or a pain in her back, or maybe she has abdominal pain, or maybe knee pain or hip pain. Who knows? I feel like as we get older, we have more and more aches and pains, and our bandwidth is shorter. Okay. So this is emotional intelligence at work. So now the last line. What are you noticing? Just simply, what are you noticing when you separate the behavior from the meaning? What I notice when I separate the event from the meaning, it's no longer about me. My body eases. I feel safe. I feel curious. I feel more compassionate, more warm, more willing, more open. And the moment feels smaller, right? I'm not thinking about it, replaying it in my mind over and over again. How dare she? I wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. I stay present. And I'm not changing her, not asking her to be different. I am training my brain to work for me rather than against me. I'm no longer reacting to other people's words. No longer adding drama and meaning to things that weren't intended to be personal or mean. I feel steadier. It allows me to have more energy for the things that I enjoy throughout the day. So if it's Thanksgiving and I'm cooking the turkey, if I gave her a ton of energy and drama and took it to a whole different level, it would probably ruin my day. And that's the old version of me. And I love this new version that's more steady. And I can take the energy that I would have spiraled out on her and carry it over for days and weeks and told every friend or went on social media. And I can use that energy and put it towards hobbies, things that interest me, things that are fulfilling and meaningful and purposeful in my life. Okay. So this week's practice, this is how we evolve. This is how we create new neural pathways in our brain. This is how we have behavior change, as we take what we learn and move it into real life, put it into practice. We integrate it, we apply it, we experiment with it. So it's bringing it into your own life in real time. So everything we talked about today is only going to benefit you if applied in your own life, and understand it at a deeper level. And then ask me questions if something trips you up, if something doesn't make sense. So you want to turn to the section number 5 in your worksheet. And there's 3 questions. And you're not meant to do all of them. Not right now. You can always come back and listen to this video again or watch this video again and do a different one. But just choose one. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. It's not about a New Year's resolution with 50 different things we want to change about ourselves. The human brain cannot handle that much rewiring. It's one thing at a time, baby steps. So pick one, and there might be a different one than what I have on the worksheet, and that's wonderful. That's amazing. I would love to know what you're going to take forward, just the one thing. If it's different than those 3 questions, feel free to message me or put it in the comments. But the 3 are, whenever you get tripped up, is this the story or the facts that I'm thinking about? So use this when your mind is sped up, jumping to conclusions, being reactive, being impulsive. Is this real? Is this facts that 12 jurors would agree upon? The next one is, what state of mind am I in right now? Okay, we can use a scale of 1 to 10 if you want. So 1 being the worst feeling or the worst state of mind on the planet, and 10 being the best feeling or state of mind. Where are you? 5 being neutral. So what state of mind are you in right now when you're tripped up, triggered? You can use this when things feel urgent or pressured or hard or heavy, or in some way you get activated. And the last one, again, you can message me or comment with any additional ones. If I already felt secure, how would I respond instead? Yeah. So like with the mother-in-law, if I was super insecure about my cooking, I probably would be defensive, reactive, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm calm and steady and curious and warm and empathetic, I would go, please help me. Cooking turkey is not my thing. I've never done this before. Please share your wisdom with me. Okay. So that would be coming from a secure place. Insecurity is being defensive, being mean back, right? Reflecting what you believe the energy is that she's sending to your way, the daggers, right? If you're assuming that, you're likely going to shoot daggers back. But if we assume the best in people, or assume that maybe she has hip pain or back pain or some sort of emotional pain, we can be more compassionate and warm towards people. Okay, take the high road. All right, so this is something that you don't only use when you're triggered. You want to use this in the smaller micro moments throughout your day. This is a skill. This is a muscle you have to build. You have to have 3,000 reps of this before it becomes automatic and easy and part of who you are. So something you practice on purpose with intention on a daily basis. It's practicing on the small micro moments. And it has to be implemented in your own life in real time within the next 24 hours. So in this next few days, definitely the next 24 hours, use this worksheet, be specific, use it in work, friendship, family, particular people that you're engaged with. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a micromanaging boss, maybe it's a particular person, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's something that's a reoccurring experience at the coffee shop. So in order to get an insight, it's putting this into action. Emotional intelligence is not about fixing. It's not about doing. It's about experiencing moments differently. It's about seeing things clearer, seeing things differently. It's about showing up differently. And it's about celebrating those small incremental changes of how you're showing up differently. That's what will integrate it. That's what will train the brain that you are, one, safe, and it's okay to think and believe differently. So this is a practice. This is the work. And it happens in real life, in real moments, in real time, with repetition. So I hope this was impactful and helpful in some sort of value. Feel free to reach out at any point in time. If you would like to have me ride shotgun with you in your own life, navigating challenges, issues, triggers that you have on your daily life. I love helping people. So feel free to reach out to me. And thank you for watching this all the way. All right, guys. Thank you.